Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Hughes, I am the Lord of Leisure, and welcome to another Aftermath video where basically I prattle on about a film I've just watched for your dining and dancing pleasure. Now, I've just come out of finally watching Spider-Man Homecoming, the latest, well, it's the joint venture between Sony, who have had the movie rights to Spider-Man for all this time, and finally Marvel. So, I suppose, in essence, because obviously they didn't have such a good time with the previous one. I didn't watch it, so I have no idea how bad it was with Andrew Garfield. Obviously they've got the new guy in, along with Robert Downey Jr. Turning up in this, Happy as well, his bodyguard, and one or two other odd little surprises here and there. Basically the story was that Spider-Man, after the Avengers and that big fight, Peter Parker goes back to school and carries on being a small-time crime fighter because he's not ready for the big time, and that kind of pisses him off, which leads to all sorts of weird and wonderful things, including the bad guy being Michael Keaton, who is doing it incredibly well. I tell you what though, it was very funny. The film. It's got a hell of a lot of laughs in it, more than I expected. So even just for that, for pure entertainment value, I'm already saying please go and watch Spider-Man Homecoming. It was fairly standalone-ish. I mean, for people who hadn't watched anything else, they gave you enough in terms of backstory, in terms of what had happened, how, you know, he had ended up there, old Peter Parker / Spider-Man had ended up in Captain America Civil War, and what had happened, and this it was this very funny video blog type thing, kind of like this, although a bit more shaky, and it just progressed on nicely from there. It took the piss out of itself, with obviously Aunt May being played by Marissa Tomei, who is, yes, hot. Can't argue with that. And his friend, Peter's friend, who ends up being the guy at the desk, is just, he's brilliant. He's brilliant in this. Nice effects, pretty decent standalone story, nice tie-ins to, you know, the previous Marvel films as well, with various weapons being, well, this is the thing, the events from the very first Avengers film do tie into this, but not to the point where you haven't got a clue what's going on, things like that. It's just, it was a very entertaining film. There was a couple of bits, obviously, you know, there was a little bit too much, I could argue, in terms of levity in the film, which is very odd for me to say. There were a couple of times where, you know, they could have toned it down a little bit, maybe, but that's nitpicking. Overall, campers, seriously, Spider-Man Homecoming, absolutely excellent, terrific action. Tom Holland is a brilliant Spider-Man, and yes, and also apparently he is, shall we say, desirable, because there's not one but two potential women after him. That's all I'm going to say. And yes, a thing right at the end as well is absolutely surprising as well. But anyway, I'm not going to spoil all that stuff. Campers, honestly, when you get chance, Spider-Man Homecoming by Sony and Marvel, yeah, it's pretty damn good. Right, I'm going to go off for a cup of tea, campers, but that's me for now from another Aftermath video. So until next time, campers, bye!